the white supremacy hate crime attack that wasn't. Welcome to the Jason Rantz Show, brought to you by the Novak team, powered by Keller Williams. Visit them online at meetthenovaks.com. Victimhood is really good business, and Burien Mayor Jimmy Mata, he knows it. Maybe that's why he breathlessly released a dramatic press release claiming to be the victim of a white supremacy hate crime attack. Now, in fairness, in this press release sent over a day before reporting the supposed hate crime to the police, Mayor Mata clarifies it wasn't a physical attack, but it was one step away from being one. That's what he says. He claimed Nazi SS bolts were printed on lawn signs bearing his name and the names of 3 other candidates. Mata, for example, he's running for re-election. He compared himself to a Jew in Nazi Germany. He said it was, quote, a direct assault on every man, woman, and child in Burien, King County, and our nation. He demanded a federal investigation. He even offered $2,000 to find out which white supremacists put up these signs.
There's only one reason for that, all right? Well, and so that's why I'm offering $2,000. It may be that, it's just some individual that wants to exercise his rights. But, at the end of the day, let's talk about that sign. That sign there, we should know who's doing that, okay? If it's not the white supremacy with the lightning bolts, then who is it?
Mayor Mata has been aggrieved by a white supremacist, and he's on a mission to find that Nazi. He's not going to find any Nazis. The problem with Mayor Mata's claims is they're not true. The lawn signs didn't include any Nazi imagery. There were no SS bolts. He didn't call the police until after he did a bunch of press media interviews that came from his press release. There was no hate crime. In fact, putting up political signs, even if they're mean, not a crime. There's not going to be any federal investigation. In fact, the King County Sheriff's Office confirmed they're not investigating this either. The criticism was very clearly inspired by the mayor's politics, not his race. Now, I bet you're wondering how I know all of this. Fair point. Valid question. I just looked at the lawn sign. Take a look at the sign. Now, you see the names of the candidates. You'll see a solidarity fist that isn't actually mentioned in Mata's press release. You'll even see lightning bolts. That's true. None of them are SS bolts. They're not even in doubles, as the mayor claimed. And you'll see some text. Seattle politics are bad for Burien. Vote against. And then, of course, you see the names listed of the candidates that the person behind the sign doesn't want you to support. Mata's being called out for being a fringe progressive, kind of like the ones you see in Seattle, hence the Seattle reference. It's really obvious. But of course, it didn't stop the mayor from getting free press coverage to feign victimhood. The myth of a massive white supremacy threat that permeates every American city, including Burien, well, that talking point, that narrative, sells, particularly in this area.
Along with stickers, signs popped up across downtown Burien saying, vote against 4 candidates, including Mata and Garcia. The signs are anonymous, and they say, quote, Seattle politics are bad for Burien, and are decorated with a raised fist and lightning bolts, which Mata believes is a Nazi symbol.
You look it up on the internet, it's white supremacy. Look at that. Propaganda. What does that mean?
What does it mean? I'll let Mayor Mata Google the definition of propaganda, though, to be fair, based on that clip, it's kind of clear he doesn't know how to use Google. But I do, and I tracked down the original source of all the images used in that lawn sign. I was shocked to learn where it came from. I didn't have to wade through swastikas at Stormfront. I found it on noted white supremacy website, Shutterstock. Shutterstock. Oh, that's not a Nazi website. In fact, it wasn't a white supremacy image at all. This is the image from a graphic designer based in Indonesia, posted on Shutterstock, that uses the screen name Yellow Line. You could find it under the keywords communist, communism, resist, and revolution. You see that fist over there? Sure, it's been co-opted by the Black Lives Matter movement locally, but it's also a common symbol of communism. It's used to express solidarity with the resistance. Even if you didn't know that, it seems pretty obvious in the context of the words on the lawn sign. The message is that the candidates are too far to the left, like what you'd find in Seattle. Now, instead of calling this grift out, the media decided to go along with it. They took it seriously. They even used a random woman on the street to say she knows that the communist symbols are actually examples of white supremacy.
Being a person of color, we know what that means. You know, we know some of the dangers that people of color have suffered behind things like this, you know.
Now, perhaps it's politically incorrect to question her lived experience as a person of color, but as a Jew, I just might also have some insight on that lightning bolt. Take a look at the image. This is an image of Nazi SS bolts. It's pretty distinctive. You see, they're thick, short, vertical. They're typically in black, sometimes in white, but they always come in pairs. It's literally in the name, SS bolts, plural. Now look at the lightning bolt, singular, from this lawn sign. It's thin, it's pointy, it's long, it's horizontal, but most importantly, and pay attention here, they're not in pairs. They're used individually in the same way you would use an arrow to point to the names of the fringe politicians in the view of whomever put up the lawn sign. There's not even 2 of them, there are 4. Now, is Mayor Mata spectacularly ignorant? Is he historically illiterate? Is he, like so many on the left, in a perpetual state of victimhood? Or is this one big grift? A calculated political move, exploiting real signs, pretending they're hate crimes so he can win some sympathy. Now, on the one hand, having interviewed him for 20 minutes, I can certainly argue he's not very smart. However, he also uses language in what feels like a clear attempt to activate Burian's anti-Trump base.
Is it because we're bringing Donald Trump's tactics back of they send their worst, their rapists, their thieves to America? I mean, are we having some of that? Is that what that means?
What does it mean to you?
To me, that's what it means.
Well, if it means that to him, it must be true. Now he must know what it feels like to be a Jew in Nazi Germany, the horrors that I don't wish on anyone. Oh, and for what it's worth, I showed the mayor a photo of the source image from Shutterstock. I asked if he still stood by his claims. Didn't get a response.